Investigators are painting a troubling picture of the woman they say opened fire. Houston police identifying the deceased shooter as 36-year-old Genesee Yvonne Moreno, telling NBC News she was carrying an AR-15 with the word Palestine written on it. A search of Moreno's home yielding ingredients to make explosives and written material with a very clear message.
We do have some anti-Semitic writings that we have uncovered during this process.
She also has a long history with schizophrenia, and according to her mother-in-law, stopped taking her medication, which could have been a huge part of the reason why she decided to attempt to open fire at the Lakewood Church in Texas. Now, 2 off-duty police officers luckily shot and killed the woman who wasn't able to cause much damage prior to that happening. She was killed. We don't know exactly how her son, who was with her, got shot, whether it was from her firing her weapon or the off-duty police officers who fired back at her at self-defense, as self-defense. But luckily, she was the only fatality in this terrifying incident. Her 7-year-old son was shot in the head, but is still clinging on to life. He's in critical condition in the hospital. Now, one other 57-year-old man was shot in the leg, but was released from the hospital and is expected to make a full recovery. Now, let's get to the details on who Moreno is and what the possible motives could be for this shooting. So the woman identified in a search warrant as Genesee Yvonne Moreno, 36 years old, entered the church shortly before 2 p.m. wearing a trench coat and backpack and opened fire, Houston Police Chief Troy Finner said. When she entered, at some point she began to fire, the chief said. One federal law enforcement source told CNN that she fired around 30 rounds, which is a lot. And considering we're talking about a mega church here, this is Joel Osteen's church. We're very lucky that no one else got hurt, no one else died. 2 off-duty officers were present, a 28-year-old Houston Police Department officer and a 38-year-old agent with the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission, both with less than 5 years of service. The 2 officers engaged the shooter and she was struck, the police chief said. She was pronounced dead at 2:07 p.m. local time. Now, the gunfire unfolded while the church was in between services. So they have an English service and then they take a break and do the Spanish service, or service for Spanish speakers, I should say. When police searched her person, her vehicle, and her home, of course, they found some other weapons. Police say the shooter used a legally purchased AR-15 with a Palestine sticker on it. At first, it was reported that Palestine was written on the gun, but now it's being reported as a sticker. She also had a .22 caliber weapon in her bag, which she did not use during the attack. Moreno also threatened that she had a bomb, but authorities searched her car and her backpack and found no explosives. The guns were, again, legally purchased, even though Moreno has a criminal history and a history with severe mental illness. Here's some more details on that.
Law enforcement records show Moreno had at least 6 prior arrests since 2005, including weapons charges. In 2016, authorities also placed Moreno under an emergency detention order.
She does have a mental health history that is documented.
Police say a dispute with her ex-husband's family, some of whom are Jewish, may also be related to the shooting.
So look, while authorities haven't specified what the motive is, they have hinted that a possibility is the issues that she was having with her in-laws. Her husband, who she shared the son with, had engaged in a pretty fierce custody battle with her. He's a registered sex offender. There's all sorts of issues there, let's just put it that way. Again, we don't know for sure what motivated her attempt at a mass shooting, but in 2022, she had her divorce proceeding transferred to county court, according to an attorney who represented her. Moreno was also arrested on a weapons charge, a misdemeanor, which was cleared with 2 days' time served in the Fort Bend County Jail. She was also previously arrested for a forgery charge, assault, drug possession. So again, she's got a history, including with mental illness. Her mother-in-law says that she was suffering from severe schizophrenia.
Yeah, so look, there's a common theme here, of course. So let's get that out of the way, guns. no matter where the shooting is, where the shooter is from, what their motivation is, and are they a little crazy? Yeah, they're all at least a little crazy. They're going into public places and shooting indiscriminately. Yes, so no matter right wing, left wing, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever it might be, yeah, they're a little nuts. But in every other country, they don't have access to the kind of weapons we give them willy-nilly. Here in America, we just, oh, you're nuts and you've shown that you're violent before, here's a gun. Do anything you like with it. Here's a giant weapon. Kill anyone you like with it. So now do the American people actually want this? No, even gun owners want some legislation that could help a little bit, like universal background checks and red flag laws. And both of those are very, very popular. But nope, gun manufacturers bribe Republican politicians through campaign contributions. And they say, ignore even your own voters. Here, I'll give you some sense of the numbers here. An overwhelming 84% of respondents said they would support preventing sales of all firearms to people who have been reported as dangerous to law enforcement by a mental health provider. That's it, she's in that group. 84% say don't let her have a weapon. Everyone, almost every state, certainly at the national level, no one's passed any laws. Yeah, here, have a weapon, who cares? And because the more you kill, the more people will get scared, they'll buy even more guns. So the gun manufacturers who give the money to the NRA and the NRA gives it to politicians, they're making if you will, they're making a killing. And they are. And they don't mind the deaths at all. Every time there's a shooting like this, they think, cha-ching, more money. And here, grubby little Republican politicians, here's a little bit of crumbs off our table. Go do as you're told. More deaths for Americans. Now, among NRA members, 69% support comprehensive background checks. What happened? I thought gun owners didn't want it. Turns out gun owners do want it.
Yeah.
They do want it. But nope, you can't get it because of our grubby, corrupt, vile, pig-faced politicians. 78% of gun owners who are not NRA members support required background checks for all firearm purchases. But you're not gonna get them because we don't live in a democracy. The shootings are never going to stop. And every time we'll have a nonsense conversation about, oh my God, what motivated them? And was it the religious, or was it a political, or was it a relationship? No, it was the guns. And we give them to everyone.
I mean, look, we don't have enough restrictions when it comes to people who have a history of criminality and a history of severe mental health issues. She's been diagnosed with schizophrenia, refused to take her medication. We know that, look, it is a tragic mental illness. It is awful, and I feel so terrible for anyone who has it. But they start seeing things, they start imagining things. A person like that should not be in possession of a firearm. And the fact that she was able to legally purchase these firearms is a problem. Yes, we do have a crisis when it comes to mental health. We should definitely do something about that. I'm an advocate for that. I wish the Republican lawmakers who immediately go to the issue of mental health whenever there's a mass shooting were serious about funding mental health initiatives to deal with this situation appropriately. But that still wouldn't be enough, because you would still need someone with schizophrenia to continue getting the treatment and medication she needs to function properly in order to justify her having a gun. And you just can't justify her having a gun. She was threatening her own neighbors. So yesterday, 6 of her neighbors came out and did a press conference to talk about how on multiple occasions they reached out to the authorities because she was threatening them with firearms. So I want to give you a few examples. One of the women, Heather, who gave only her first name out of fear of retaliation, said she made a complaint against Moreno, alleging she threatened her with a handgun on July 4th of 2022. Moreno had screamed expletives at her when she was watering her lawn early that morning. Heather said she walked to Moreno's home and that the woman pointed a handgun at her from behind the trunk of her car. She said Conroe police, that's the neighborhood that they lived in, documented the incident as a threat. We're being told, see something, say something. Well, we're seeing stuff and we're saying stuff, and Conroe PD is not helping us. I don't want to bash them, but help us, please. Well, you have to talk to your state lawmakers and ask why state lawmakers are refusing to pass legislation that would implement red flag laws, that would prevent someone like Moreno from being able to legally access a firearm.
So she's done this on multiple occasions, and she has physically hit other neighbors who are walking in the neighborhood, and sometimes with their kids. So the minute she pointed a handgun at someone, boom, I'm done with her. Let's go, red flag law. What kind of, look, who's really got the mental health problems? I think the country has mental health problems. I think our politicians have mental health problems. I think our media has mental health problems. How do you not take guns away from someone who points it at innocent people in the neighborhood and has a violent strain of schizophrenia? We must all be nuts, but we don't do anything about it. And look, we point out in every case, hey, when Republicans and Democrats do it, hey, Democrats take the corporate donor money too, etc. Not in this one. No, the Democrats used to take NRA money, they don't anymore. On this one, it is clean and simple. Republican politicians are crooks. They all take this blood money and they don't care about your lives. Like you see like how they are funding the massacre of Palestinian children. And you think, oh, wow, look at that. They don't care about Palestinians at all. No, brother, I got news for you. They don't care about you either. They think, oh, you're getting slaughtered in the streets. But yeah, but the gun sales are going up and that's giving me more campaign contributions. None of this will stop until we take money out of politics. Yeah. Every crazy person in the country will have a gun. And at some point, a giant percentage of them will use it to kill us.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.